Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. On this video, I would like to tell everyone that I've got something really special to show you. And you're gonna really love this one. Now, whoever has seen my videos lately about my videos about life lessons and about my treasures, working and all that stuff. And I don't know if anyone knows that I'm also a really big game player. So I thought I would show you something really unique in this video. So feast your eyes on this. My living room, aka my game world. Or just game room, whatever you want to call it. As you can see, I've got a bunch of gaming stuff, like posters, like metal ones, Zelda, Pac-Man, and some Mario plushies, or whatever you call those things. A Mario lamp, the entertainment system thing. I think it's some sort of like container that had like candy in it or something, that had like these Mario items on top that like they're shaped like that. But this is just for display only, though. Anyway, a Link figurine, which you can play with, which actually moves. But, I mean, I don't want to mess with this too much, because, you know, this thing is just for display. Zelda stickers from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker stained glass window poster. The poster is placed in a picture frame so that way it stays, neat and protected. Some more gaming signs, like Gaming Zone, warning may yell at video games. Grab life by the controller, which is an awesome one. More Zelda stickers. Another gaming picture. More Zelda stuff, of course. Especially because I'm a fan of Zelda. Zelda Wind Waker. I think that's supposed to be a painting, I suppose. But don't ask me, I wasn't the one that painted it. I bought it, so, I don't paint, so I don't paint something like that. Down here is something really unique. These are my Zelda knickknacks, which are from a website called Etsy, which is where like people would handcraft something that that they really like these, for example, of course. Like, for those who have played Zelda Ocarina of Time, probably are familiar with these, the medallions from Zelda Ocarina of Time, and the boss key, the bag of rupees, another boss key from Zelda, and this right over here is a light. And boy, is that pretty. It's battery operated, so, so it has no cord. It only works on batteries. It makes like a good night light. And that is Lon Lon Ranch milk. Well, it's not actually milk. That's just what it says on the bottle. It's actually bath powder stuff. So which means that you can pour that when you're taking a bath, and it helps like soothe your skin, which is really unique. And right here is the rupee bags. Or just one bag, sorry. And if you look inside, give me 1 second. And when I dump these out, you'll see how realistic these rupees look. And look at that. Aren't they just so beautiful? They actually look so real, though. And I don't know if they're actually made of glass or whatever they make them. And, but I still don't want to mess with these, I just thought I would show you guys, what they look like. Just give me 1 second. Let me put these back in. Whoops. I'll tie it back in a little bit. All right. So on to more. Oh, another thing I forgot to show. I also have some Legend of Zelda mango books or whatever you call them. You know, like comic books, Kingdom Hearts, and all that good stuff. And another thing I'd like to show you is this. This is my gaming section. Well, this is where I play my game systems, that is. As you can see, also have game controllers that are for display. Unfortunately, I don't have a Virtual Boy game controller, so this one is, still empty right now, but eventually I will have one someday to go with the rest of the gaming collection and all that. And this, if you're wondering what this is actually an 8-ball, except it's actually in the Super Mario question block. Like, like how you play that game, like you ask a question, then you shake the number 8 ball and see what your answer is. This is what this question block is, except it's just, a question block version. This is a Pac-Man clock, a rare kind of Pac-Man clock, that is. And ringer doesn't work, but it still keeps the time and all that. And it also has a little light on it, which you have to hold on in order to make the light stay on for some reason. And when you let go, it turns off. Down here is my game systems. This is my PlayStation 4. And above it, I have some PlayStation lights. You can make them all stay on at the same time, or, have certain ones turn on at some point, or whatever, or have them blink randomly. Pretty cool, isn't it? Here's my original Xbox, my Wii U, original PlayStation, and the original PlayStation multiplayer socket, or whatever you call that thing. And my Nintendo Switch, Dreamcast, Legend of Zelda sticker. Inside, this is where I store my game controllers for each of my systems. I know it's a little messy, so sorry about that. That's just how it is, though. Let's see if I stored anything in here. Oh, yeah. There's more gaming controllers here and all that. All for, the game systems over here on my TV stand. And here is a Pac-Man light, which is on top of my PlayStation 2. This one does the same thing as that PlayStation light I was showing you. Just select how you want it to be. Oh, hold on, something went wrong. They're all supposed to, blink randomly for some reason. Sorry about that, I guess something went wrong. Anyway, so as I said, this is my PlayStation 2, and it has an aftermarket red memory card on it. And, it still works just as good as the original ones. My Nintendo 64, my GameCube, and up here, for those who don't know what this thing is supposed to be like a multiple adapter or whatever you call this thing. What that means is that this can actually have more than one AV cables connected all in one. And instead of unhooking every one, to switch for a different game system or whatever you're using, you just simply push a button, and then it sends the signal to the system you want to play, or whatever you're using it for, which is really unique. And right here this is another poster. Well, it's a tint metal poster. It says arcade, which is a Pac-Man version, as you can see. My PlayStation 4 controllers are being recharged, so this is my charging station right here. Another metal poster. My console, my rules. That's quite true, though. Your game, your rules. Another Pac-Man poster. Metal one, that is. And right here. Oh, sorry, the light is in the way. This is an original Jak and Daxter poster, which was from a Jak and Daxter strategy guide, for the game that you play. And, as you see, I have it in a picture frame to protect it from being damaged, especially because it's used and it's old. So I don't want it to have any further damage. Another gaming picture. And this one is another painting I bought from the same store where I got that Zelda Wind Waker painting. The one with Ganondorf fighting Link and Zelda, that is. And right here is a Mario stand, or at least I think that's what they call it. Like, for those who play video games and are wondering what this is used for, well, it can be used for, like, holding a remote, your Nintendo DS or something like that, or whatever can fit on there. Pretty much use it for whatever you want. This is a Game Boy, original Game Boy bank, actually. So, like to store coins and all that, which is very unique. You just take the top off, just pull it off, and then, you have access to it. And this is where you can drop the coins if you want it to, like, stand up. Sorry about the noise. But I prefer to keep it like this, though. Because when it gets too heavy, the lid will pop off, and I don't want that. Down here is a set of bongos. And you're wondering, what are these used for? Well, they're actually used for a game, an old Nintendo GameCube game called Donkey Konga. Because Donkey Konga requires you to use these bongos to play some songs that they play on the game. And I'll show you that game in just a moment. And I'll show you, like, how it works. And over here is my collection of Dreamcast games and original PlayStation games. And, and all that good stuff. I mean, I would like to show everyone the front of the cases, but, it's kind of, it's kind of, a little hard to do that right now. And I would have to, like, go through everything again, if you get what I'm saying. But if anyone, ever wants to look at the games, like, completely look at the cases, please feel free to ask me for any requests about that. Anyway, now this side, this is where I keep most of my games. Up here is original games. I have some Nintendo 64 games right here. Original Game Boy Advance games. They're complete in the box. They're all wrapped in plastic so to be protected, because the boxes were made of cardboard back then. Over here is an original Donkey Kong game cartridge, which I'm guessing is for the original Atari, is what I'm guessing. Actually, yeah, it says Atari on it, so it is an old Atari game. Great shape, too. And got some other Game Boy games, like Castlevania Circle of the Moon, The Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap, and some other Nintendo 64 games. And for those who are wondering about some of these ones, such as this one, like The Legend of Zelda Dawn and Dusk, that's not an actual game. Those are one of those hacked games that you see on YouTube. And then people like would make these games by like hacking from other games that already exist for this system, and they would change things up just to make kind of like make their own story about these games and all that stuff, which is very unique. And same thing with this one. This one is Dragon Ball Kart, which is a hacked game of Mario Kart 64, which is an original Nintendo 64 game, which is right here. So, like, Dragon Ball Kart is, just like Mario Kart 64, except it's just characters from Dragon Ball Z and all that. And down here are my Wii and Wii U games. Well, I only got 2 Wii U games. And more Wii games here. And the rest of this row is GameCube games. And down below are the strategy guides for each of the games. Well, most of the games that I have. Even though internet pretty much tells you everything nowadays, but still, it's good to, collect these because they are collectible items, so why not, right? And sometimes it's just good to look up things the old-fashioned way, too. So, and, they're just very, really good to have and to look at, too. Sometimes just look at them just for fun. I mean, why not, right? And down here are original Xbox games. And as you can see, and of course there's some more PlayStation 2 games right here. Oops. Sorry about that. Anyway, and over here is my movies and TV show collection. All on Blu-ray and DVD. But they're not gaming stuff, of course. But still, I'll still show them if people want to see it. As you see, there's quite a lot to see here. It's quite a collection, isn't it? And when I also go through my movie collection, you'll also see something really neat that probably some of you gamers probably never heard of. And it's actually down here. Right here, you can see there's this show that says Captain N the Game Master, the complete series. That's actually a TV show, like from the 1980s or so, that talks about this kid named Kevin who gets taken into his own game console and is, destined to help protect Game World, or whatever they call that, which is a really good series. There's even Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is a TV series, too, and it's also based on the video game. And there's also the Legend of Zelda TV series, The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, and Super Mario World. And there's also a Super Mario Super Show, which I don't own, but it's also another gaming, show that you would see based on the video games by Nintendo. Well, I mean, Sonic is Sega, but still, there's, still gaming shows. And of course, down here I've got some Japanese shows like Sailor Moon, Rama 1/2, Inuyasha, all these good stuff. All this good stuff. Alright, and we move on. And there's also more over here. here is another Zelda poster, which is actually from an old, an old Zelda calendar. That's what I was trying to say. Sorry. Yeah, like when that calendar was expired, I just thought I would save, the picture of the calendars. Because, I mean, plus it is Zelda, so I thought, why not just keep them for display and all that? And here it is. And here is another Zelda Wind Waker painting, all from the same store I've been to. Pretty, isn't it? Right here is a stained glass window Zelda blanket. It's a throw blanket, but I'd rather keep it on my wall, just to like for display and all that, which is really unique. And over here is something really unique. In this old hutch right here are collectible gaming stuff. Like things that I probably would never use. Like right here, there's an old playing with superpower game. I mean, superpower magazine or whatever you call it. Like it gives you like helpful information and all that stuff. Just like a strategy guide pretty much. Right there is the Kukiri sword from Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's not a real sword, though, so it's just made out of wood, so technically it's a toy. But I just keep it in the hutch for display so that, it doesn't get damaged and all that stuff. There's also a Game Boy player case, but that case is reproduction, though. Another one that is like another guide for Nintendo 64. And others, like this one, the 101 Nintendo Secrets Revealed, which is like another strategy, pretty much. And for this is actually a Pac-Man board game. And if you're wondering, like, what's this supposed to be? Well, this Pac-Man board game is actually based on the actual classic arcade game itself, but except you just play it by hand, and you actually gotta, like, use cards and a dice and all that stuff in order to make Pac-Man move and all that. And all that good stuff. But I prefer the original arcade anyway. Or even just play it like on Namco Museum and all that. Up here, you see there's a Super Mario Checkers and Tic-Tac-Toe game. Pokemon cereal box. Original Nintendo Entertainment System. In the back, there is a Zap Gun, which is in its original box. And right here, this thing right here, that is above the system, that is supposed to be a multiplayer adapter for the original Nintendo Entertainment System. But even though, like, there were hardly any multiplayer games back then, well, for like 4 players, that is, most games back then only had just 2 players, so that's a pretty unique find, and, it's really rare, so it's still good to look at. Up here is an unopened Miss Pac-Man arcade game. Well, it's one of those plug-and-play games. You just plug it into your AV cables, and then you play. Same thing with this one over here. It's in the shape of Pac-Man, and it says that it plays like 12 classic games on it, so which means that it would play like 12 of the classic Namco games from the game Namco Museum, of course. And, quick shot joystick controller. If I remember, I think it's for a Nintendo Entertainment System. It's still in its box. Up here is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, I think. I mean, I once played this game, but then I started to get bored with it because it's not as good as like some of the other Final Fantasy games. But still, it's good to have as display, though. On this side is another PlayStation multiplayer adapter which is in its box. Looks just like the one I have in my TV stand. There's a Final Fantasy game up there. Another multiplayer adapter for PlayStation. Up there, I know it's a little hard to see. That is like an old like CD or something for Super Mario soundtrack or something like that. This is my Nintendo Entertainment System Advantage. There's no controller in it. It's just the box alone. And so I just keep the box for display. Some more stuff up here, like there's this PlayStation 2 game called The Nightmare of Druaga, which is based on an original arcade game called The Tower of Druaga, which is also a Namco video game. And right there is supposed to be like a PlayStation 1 something. I don't know what it is. There's also a Mario Salt and Pepper Shaker. Mushroom and Drain Pipe. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Master Quest. This is actually like another part of Ocarina of Time, except like in this one, you play the dungeons a different way. Like it makes the dungeons more challenging for the player and all that. And original Game Boy carrier. Oh, and behind it, if I remember, I think like that brown thing behind it, it's probably supposed to be like a Nintendo Entertainment System game cartridge holder or something like that. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Original Game Boy and Ultra Racer in its original box. Super Mario Bros. 3 for original Nintendo. Oh, there's something else I forgot. And that thing must be for original Game Boy Advance for multiplayer, I'm guessing. Yeah, I think this was for. Yeah. Oh, thanks. And right here is the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time poster. As you can see, it's also in a picture frame itself, too. Just like the Wind Waker one. Isn't it pretty? Oh, almost forgot. I also have the original PlayStation 4 Pro box up there. An original Xbox, which is just for display, because that one's actually broken. And the controller that comes with it. This one's actually pretty different. Not like the original. Like the ones you usually see for the original Xbox, that is. And now, for over here, as you can see, I have myself another TV in this room, other than just my flat screen over there. And you might be asking, why do I have two TVs? Well, to answer that question, the reason why I have two TVs in the living room is because, well, one, I like to do things old-fashioned way sometimes, and not just that, but also because when you play the original Nintendo Entertainment System, which is right here, and you play a game called Duck Hunt, and it requires that zap gun that I just showed you in the hutch. Like, it only works if you play on old TVs like this one. But like flat screen TVs, it doesn't work. The gun actually will not work. And I think that happens with other certain controllers, I suppose. And above here are more controllers, that are for display. And more metal posters. Super Mario Kart. Super Mario Bros. 3. Gaming mode activated. And there's some more over here. Another Zelda calendar poster. And this one too is also a Zelda calendar poster as well too. A metal poster, of course. And up here is a Tetris sign. It's one of those signs that changes when you look at it at a different angle. Pretty unique, isn't it? And over here is another gaming light. Isn't it nice? The same pattern as the one on my throw blanket. Now over here, this is where I play the older systems, such as the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo Entertainment System. Both have original controllers, which you can see right here. They all work great and all that. And this is also where I store my the games for these systems. Right in here. Another Super Nintendo controller, which is original. Some original games for Super Nintendo in their original boxes. And one that isn't in a box. The game Hook, which is based on a movie. Donkey Kong Classic, Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and The Legend of Zelda 1 and 2. Both in their original boxes, but are missing their manuals. And I also have this, which is supposed to be some sort of, special kind of Nintendo Entertainment System controller, I suppose. I think that's what it is. And there's also this, which is used for the Super Nintendo, kind of like an arcade machine. The Zap Gun, this is used for games like Duck Hunt and like other games for the original Nintendo Entertainment System that requires the gun. And like I said a little while ago, this only works on old TVs. I mean, if you try to actually, try to use the gun on a flat screen TV, the gun will still work, like it'll actually fire and all that, but it actually won't let you hit the targets you're aiming at. But if you do it on the old TV, then it'll work the way it's supposed to. I also have an original Game Boy game called Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters, which, a pretty unique game. It doesn't have its box and all that, so it's just the game cartridge alone. Over here is the Super Game Boy. And even comes with the original instructions, but no box. Now, some of you gamers who are not familiar with Super Nintendo, if you're wondering what this is used for, well, to answer that question, what this is used for is that this can play original Game Boy games such as Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters, for example. All you do is stick it in here, and you just, place it right in here, where the game cartridge would go, and then you can play your Game Boy games right on the big screen, instead of playing on your small system, the Game Boy, that is. And, another thing I have in here is the actual controller itself, the Nintendo Entertainment System Advantage. Just like the one you saw in the hutch that just has the box. This is not the original controller that actually came with that box, because the box and the controller were separate. So, this is kind of like an arcade joystick game, just like the Super Nintendo one that you have seen right over here. And they're very unique, and they have special features on them where you can change the speed of your character, or how fast they can attack, or run, or something like that. Or at least that's what I've heard or so. Oh, and there's other games you probably didn't notice. I also have Super Mario Kart with just its game cartridge, and The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past with just its game cartridge. So both games don't have boxes. And that's pretty much all there is to it for my game collection. And I hope everyone enjoyed this video, and I really hope this information was very helpful to you too. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask me anything about my collection. And if you have any requests, please feel free to send me requests. But please be polite as usual. And that's it. Thank you, and goodbye.